Hi everyone and welcome back. Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing and testing a new set of 12 half pans in a tin with a water brush from Arteza. Okay, so let's get them open, let's take a look. Okay, so once they're out of the blister pack, they come in this little box, so it's really well packed. There was even some cellophane around the tin. And, oh, we've got the Arteza logo on there, look, little sticker. Thumb ring on the bottom. It's just a generic little watercolour tin. Holds 12 half pans. We've got the colour selection there. And I think that just comes straight out. Let's take that out and we'll get rid of that. Oh, I must just mention as well, there's no indication on here of pigment numbers either. And there was on the tube paints that I reviewed, but no indication here, so okay. Well, the first thing I notice is what a really nice tin this is. There's no sharp corners, no sharp edges on there. All the edges are rolled and nice and smooth, which is more than I can say for some of the tins from sort of artist quality suppliers of watercolour. Some of their tins are absolutely dreadful, you cut your fingers on them and everything, but this is a really nice little tin actually. And this part here, this mixing well here, on a lot of the tins that I've seen, if I hold it that way without the pans falling out, this kind of flops all the way down. This one is fairly straight actually. It sits up a little bit, but it's fairly straight. I much prefer that than having one that just kind of flops all the way down. So straight the way the tin ticks all the boxes for me. That's brilliant. It's a lovely lightweight size as well for outdoor painting, just for sticking in your pocket, maybe with, you know, this little water brush. And you got yourself an ideal little sketch kit there, haven't you? Unfortunately the brush doesn't quite fit in the tin there, but that's no problem. Right, so I think what we ought to do is do a little swatch. We'll do the swatch with the water brush, and we'll just give a little test to both. Okay, so the first colour is lemon yellow, the next one is cadmium yellow light, then yellow ochre, and the next one is cadmium red light, and this one that looks like crimson is called amaranth, and then rust red. And we've got Prussian blue, jade green, periwinkle blue, and this one's fern green, I really like that one, and sepia, and then black. Okay, so that's the swatches done, and they're nice and dry now, and as I'm looking at them, absolutely brilliant. They feel a lot different compared to the previous set of watercolours that I reviewed, not the gouache, which I've just reviewed, but prior to that I'd done a review of the 60 set of tube paints of watercolours. Although I was, you know, very impressed and I like them a lot, I did say that they felt a little bit chalky, but these on the other hand, these feel like totally different paints altogether. Now, I did forget to put in a black line along the top. I usually do that to test the opacity of the paints. I forgot to do that on this one, but I can see just by looking at them, they're nowhere near as opaque as the other set that I reviewed. These didn't feel chalky at all. They feel really smooth. They lay down lovely, nice and even. You know, they run out really well, as you can see. We've got a nice gradual fade there on all of them. Some of them are a bit clumpy, but that's me, you know, getting too much paint on the brush. And another thing I must mention as well, these are fantastic for wetting up quickly. You don't have to scrub them, you don't have to pre-wet them or anything. Just touch the brush on them and you can see that the pigment comes up really creamy straight away. You know, it's not hard or anything. As soon as you put the water on there, it almost like turns to like a creamy consistency within seconds. I really like that, because if there's one thing that annoys me with watercolours, it's spending ages scrubbing away on them or having to pre-wet them all first and then scrub away on them to try and get some pigment. These are absolutely fantastic. Really good. Now the only one little gripe that I've got actually is the water brush. It worked perfectly well, nothing wrong with its performance whatsoever. But I just noticed when I went to put that on there, this doesn't fit on the top, so that's something that's going to be kind of loose and rolling around, and you're probably going to end up losing that if you're sketching outdoors or something. So just be aware of that. But apart from that, apart from the fact it doesn't fit on the end, everything is absolutely brilliant. And I think we ought to test them now and do a little painting and really put them to the test and see what they can do. But before we do that, I'll just come back to this this packaging again. It's like I say, there's no mention at all of pigment numbers with any of these, and there's also no mention of light fastness or transparency or opacity at all anywhere on the box. So if that's something that bothers you, just bear that in mind. It would have been nice to know that information actually. I mean, it has got the safety rating on there, the ASTM D, I can't read that, was it 4236 or something, conforms to the safety standards there, and it does say non-toxic on the box. In fact, I'll hold the box up and you can pause the video if you want to read it there. Oh, and I should just quickly mention as well that the paper that I swatched these out on is also Arteza paper. It's from the Expert range. Really nice paper. And I was surprised to see actually that the watercolours are classed as their premium range, the same as their tube paints. I think these are a lot better quality, to be honest. I think they could have classed these as expert paints. They just seem in a different class to the tube paints. These are really lovely paints, actually. Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, I'm forgetting everything in this video, aren't I? I forgot to mention as well, I'm not affiliated with Arteza. They sent me these products free of charge for an honest review. There'll be a 10% discount code for you in the description below if you're interested in buying these paints, but I won't get any cuts from that at all because, like I say, I'm not affiliated with them. Okay, so just for transparency there. Right, so let's get cracking on a painting then. Right, okay, so I'm starting out wet into wet, just getting the paper nice and wet all over, and the paper I'm working on, again, it's the Arteza Expert watercolour paper in A5 size. And I wanted to do just a very loose sort of underpainting just to start with, just to kind of test the colours, to see how they flow on the wet paper, to see if I got any hard edges or anything funny happened when it dried, and it was perfect, no problems at all. I'm going to be using a little bit of Arteza Gouache towards the end of this painting. So what you're seeing here is just a very loose underpainting for a forest scene. And like I say, the final part, again, I'll be using Arteza gouache for that. I've already done a review of those, I think it was last month. I'll leave a link in the description for the video review of those if you're interested. Now this painting now is kind of at the ugly stage. It's not looking very good at all. But the idea is, to get a basic sort of forest background in, with the trees, a little bit of the foliage in the distance there, and then work the detail with the gouache, in the final part of the painting. Now, if you're interested, the full version of this painting is over on my Patreon channel. It took me several hours to do, about 3 hours, I think, 2.5, 3 hours. The most time-consuming part of it was the final details, actually, with the gouache. That took quite a while. This part now went fairly quickly. Like I say, it's just a very loose underpainting, so it doesn't take too long at all. And it's really at the ugly stage at the moment as well. It's not looking too good. But like I say, I'm not trying to get a finished look to the painting at this stage. That'll all come later on. But anyway, back to the paints. I'm really enjoying using them. Again, they're a joy to use. I've had no problems with them. They flow out into the water really well without any hard edges, and the colour selection is fantastic. The colours mix together really well, and they're very strongly pigmented, very nice strong pigments, as are all of the Arteza products that I've tried. They're all very strongly pigmented. In fact, it's really hard to find fault with these paints. I think you've got to be really hard to please if you don't like these paints. They really are nice paints to use. They do feel a lot better quality than their tube paints, I'll be honest and say that. I much preferred these pan paints. They felt a lot better quality. They were more transparent, less chalky, just in a different league basically. They really are a much better paint. Okay, so I'm using the gouache now just to put all the final detail in, all the foliage and everything. Like I say, this took quite a long while. The video's cut down quite a bit, so like I say, the full lesson will be over on Patreon, and I'll leave links to that on the end screen and in the description below. Okay, so just the final last touches there, and there's the finished painting, and that's all using Arteza products there. So, final thoughts. Well, like I said in the painting there, I've really enjoyed using them. I think they're a great set, particularly for, let's say, urban sketches or anybody who wants to paint outside. Just the size of this little tin, the thumb ring on it and everything, it really does lend itself superbly for a little travel palette. Now, the fact that we haven't got any light fast rating or anything like that, I'm not worried about pigment numbers too much, to be honest. I mean, if I like a colour, I like it. I don't really care what the pigment number is, to be honest. But I am a bit concerned about light fast rating. So at the minute, I would only use these in a sketchbook, just in case. But I mean, they feel that that good a quality that you can't imagine them not being light fast. I know that's probably a very silly thing to say, and it makes no sense at all. But they do feel like really good quality paints. But I just wish that Arteza would put the light fast ratings, at least, on the packaging, so that we know what's what. Now, it's like I say, I'm very happy with this set, and I'm certainly going to be using it, that's for sure. And would I recommend it? Absolutely, I would. I mean, it's coming up to Christmas now, and I think that this would be an ideal stocking filler, for the artist in your life. Now, the price of these, also as well, you can get a 36 set. There's no 24 set, strangely, but there's a 36 set of half pans. Now, the prices for these at the time of making this video are £20 in the UK and $19.99 US. And for the 36 set, they're only $29.99 in the UK and $34.99 US. So the prices aren't bad there. I think that's a good deal for the quality of paints that they are. And again, there's no open stock with these, so you can't replace individual pans or anything like that. But if you run out of one of these, you can always replace it with another one from somewhere else, can't you? But again, that's something I wish Arteza would take note of, because a lot of people are saying it about there's no open stock. The fact that we can't just replace the odd pigment here and there can be a bit of an issue. I'd prefer, if Arteza would do that, because already, the fern green, this green here, I want to buy a big tube of that. I really love that colour. It's a fantastic landscape green. It really is a superb colour. I want to buy a great big tube of that or stock up with pans of that, but I can't, So in some cases it's a bit of an issue. And I'm sure eventually Arteza will get round to maybe doing open stock, because their products are so good. You do want to replace them as you run out of them. The products I've just used in this video, the Arteza paper, the paints and the gouache, the watercolour paints and the gouache, are three of my favourite art materials at the moment. They all work together superbly. They're affordable, they're really good quality, and like I say, you'll be hard pushed to find fault with them. You really will. You know, other than the few things that I've mentioned about you can't get open stock and there's no light fast ratings with these, but that's not to say that, you know, they aren't light fast. They could well be perfectly light fast, but we just don't know. So a little bit more information, and to provide us with open stock, these would be perfect, absolutely perfect. And I'm going to continue to use them and enjoy them, and I look forward to trying more of their products as well. And I just want to say a big thank you to Arteza as well, if they're watching, for sending me these art materials to try. It's been a real treat to do that, because it's nice to come across art materials which are good quality and are affordable as well. It's usually not the case, you know, it's usually one or the other. It's either expensive and high quality or cheap and poor quality. But in this case, these are very good quality at a very inexpensive price. You know, it's just nice to come across that, isn't it? So again, very grateful to Arteza for sending these out to me. Highly recommend them. And like I say, I'm not getting paid to do these reviews, and I won't get any cut or any money or anything if you buy through the Arteza link, which I'll provide in the description below. And there'll be a 10% coupon code for you there to get 10% off if you do follow through and buy anything there. But like I say, I don't get anything for it, so you can rest assured that this is a 100% honest review. You know, if I didn't like these paints, I would tell you, you know, I don't like them. I'd tell you straight away. But I do like them, and it, you know, it's the honest truth. And it's like I say, I'm not being paid to promote them or anything, so you can feel quite confident, you know, that this is an honest review. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to you. And don't forget, if you're interested in following along with the painting that you saw in this video, it will be over on my Patreon page, and I'll leave links in the end screen and in the description below for that as well. Okay, so thanks very much for viewing. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.